Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can nail a prompt engineering interview. This is a field where salaries can shoot past $335,000 a year. But, and this is a big but, getting your foot in the door, that takes a very specific kind of prep.
So why is this prep so incredibly important? Well, it all kicks off with a statistic that's kind of shocking, honestly.
Okay, get this. Industry estimates show that a whopping 70% of candidates fail their prompt engineering interviews. And look, it's not because they aren't smart. It's almost always because they just didn't prepare for what is a totally new, really specific kind of technical interview.
So that's the big question, right? How do you get into that top 30%? Here's a hint. It has nothing to do with memorizing answers. It's all about showing a certain way of thinking. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now.
All right, let's get right to the heart of it. The number one absolute most important skill interviewers are looking for is this. Can you take a weak, kind of vague prompt and turn it into something super precise, structured, and powerful? Something that actually solves a real business problem. Just look at this. The difference in thinking is crystal clear, right? The bad prompt is just a simple request. Summarize this. But the good one, that shows a structured mind. You're giving the AI a role, a clear task, you're listing out specific things you need, like action items, and you're even telling it exactly how you want the output to look. That's not just prompting, that's showing you get the business side of things. Hey, this isn't just for summarizing meetings. The same exact principle applies to highly technical stuff. The after prompt here just adds these layers of professional detail. You're specifying a role, the tech stack. You're even thinking about data validation and asking for comments in the code. This is what proves you think like a real engineer, not just some casual user. Okay, so how in the world do you actually develop this skill? Let me tell you, it is not about cramming the night before. No way. It's about having a real methodical game plan. This timeline really lays it out. Proper prep is a marathon, not a sprint. You see how it starts weeks, not days before the interview? You're building up your evidence, your portfolio. Then you move on to mastering the core ideas, practicing under pressure, and only then, at the very end, do you review the nitty-gritty details of specific tools. Let me be super clear about this. Your portfolio is everything. It's the most important asset you have. In a field this new, it honestly matters more than a fancy degree because it's tangible proof you can do the work. And those before and after examples, they are pure gold. They literally show an interviewer your thought process and how you solve problems. And you can bet they're going to test you on this. Knowing which model to use for which job is a huge differentiator. It shows you're not just throwing prompts at a wall. You're thinking strategically about things like efficiency, cost, and what each model is actually good at. Okay, check out this table. It really breaks down the crucial trade-offs. Think of it like this. You wouldn't use a sledgehammer to hang a picture frame, right? It's the same idea here. You'd grab GPT-4 for really complex thinking and coding, but for summarizing a massive 200-page report, you're going to want Claude. And if your task involves looking at images and text, Gemini is your go-to. Knowing this stuff it's just not optional. All right, let's shift gears and talk about something a bit more advanced. This is the stuff that really separates the junior folks from the senior level hires that companies are basically fighting over. We're talking about prompt system design. So if you get a challenge like this, a senior level answer is never just one single prompt. No, it's a whole architecture. You have to show that you can think at a system level, that you're considering the entire user journey from start to finish. So, step one is all about figuring out what the user actually wants. This first prompt is like a smart traffic cop for the whole system. It classifies the problem before you even try to solve it. This is huge for cutting down on errors and making everything way more efficient. Okay, so once you know the user's intent, then you get to the core of the interaction. This next stage uses a totally different, specialized prompt to give a really tailored and helpful answer. You see how it builds directly on what you figured out in stage one? It's all connected. And last, but definitely not least, you need a safety net. This is so crucial. This is the prompt that knows when it's time to call for a human. It's the part of your system that stops customers from getting frustrated by intelligently figuring out when the AI is in over its head. For a good user experience, this is an absolute must-have. Phew,
Okay, we've covered a lot. We've gone through the skills, the advanced concepts, the whole game plan. So let's boil all of that down into a final checklist. The key things you need to walk into that interview feeling confident. So, to wrap it all up, just remember this. Success here isn't one single thing. It's a combination. You've got to show your work in a great portfolio. You need to understand the why behind the prompts, not just memorize them. You have to practice under real-world pressure, and you've got to be able to clearly explain how you think. And in the end, you have to realize something. Every single question an interviewer asks you is a prompt. Seriously, it's designed to test your thinking, your structure, your problem-solving chops. And hopefully, this entire explainer has given you the framework to deconstruct that prompt and craft a response that's going to land you the job.